Hey y'all, today I have a theory for you, which is that Oda is setting up for a return to the paradise half of the Grand Line. Before we get into this, I'd like to note that I am an anime only, so my information is limited up to episode 1006. If manga readers have other information that disproves anything I say, well, congratulations, but I don't know of it. Anyway, I'd appreciate if you avoided spoilers in the comments, and let's get on to the theory. Before getting to a bigger prediction, we need to look at the current trajectory of the series. What else can happen in the New World? Well, very simply put, there are 3 arcs that I think we can be assured of, those being Elbaf, Lodestar, and Laugh-Tale. Those 3 arcs are somewhat mysterious to us, but they aren't really essential right now. The more important thing is what is going to happen after Laugh-Tale. There is a possibility that a final war takes place at Laugh-Tale, but I would argue that a final war at Marijoa is more likely, as that is the residing place of Imu, and it has the giant straw hat. The next question that needs to be answered is what exactly will the One Piece lead to? When it is found, what will the Straw Hats react with? There are 2 possible things that I think it could possibly be that would prompt a final war. That being information that requires a takedown of the world government or some sort of ancient weapons access, which will come back later in this theory. This all means that following Laugh-Tale, it is likely that the Straw Hats have good reason to attack Marijoa and are interested in the takedown of the world government. So, the question becomes, how do they get there? They could sail back through the New World, but I think that may be a slower method, with other Yonko such as Blackbeard potentially standing in their way, and a variety of other threats that lurk throughout the world's most dangerous sea. It seems far easier to travel through Paradise, if indeed they can access that relatively easily. And I think that there is good evidence to tell us that you can actually travel back over Reverse Mountain from the New World. My evidence comes from the beginning of the series, that being Blackbeard and Ace. Remember, Blackbeard and Ace were strangely so close to the beginning of the Grand Line when they showed up in Jaya and Alabasta. Why did Blackbeard travel so far into Paradise, leaving the New World so far behind? There doesn't seem to be something directly that he was searching for, and both Ace and Blackbeard were kind of pursuing each other at that point. If Blackbeard was in pursuit of rookies, it would have made more sense for him after coming through Fishman Island to stay at Sabaody Archipelago. And for Ace, the direction that he was traveling from Drum Island to Alabasta tells us that he was traveling through the Grand Line in the same direction that the Straw Hats were after Reverse Mountain. Therefore, instead of what is commonly assumed to be a route of those 2 traveling from the New World under Fishman Island and into Paradise, I would argue it's more logical for them to have reached the entrance to Reverse Mountain from the New World half of the Grand Line and somehow access Paradise that direction. This means that there is some way to go back across Reverse Mountain, which both Blackbeard and Ace know, Blackbeard knowing it being essential to this. Now, the Straw Hats will also do this. Why? 1, we know that Brook's dream is to meet Laboon from the front, therefore he has to cross back over Reverse Mountain anyway. Furthermore, we know that there may be information from Laugh-Tale that gives us the directions to this. It will also be easier for the Straw Hats to travel in Paradise than in New World. A theory of how they discover this route could be that they follow Blackbeard or another Yonko, because the New World is no longer safe for pirates, as it becomes more and more volatile in the New Age. The only question now becomes, why would that return make sense from a story standpoint? Well, 1, it achieves a few dreams, but 2, there is a decent reason to believe that a return to some of the locations from before the time skip may be necessary before the ending of the series. First, at Reverse Mountain, there is Laboon, which has both Brook's dream, which is to meet Laboon again, and Luffy's often forgotten about promise to Laboon, in which the Lodguard Straw Hat was painted on him, and in which they agreed for a fight. Furthermore, crossing back over Reverse Mountain allows the Straw Hats to meet Crocus again. This may lead us to information about wherever Rayleigh is, or information about whether Roger is alive, which is a commonly floated theory around. This would have been foreshadowed in Laugh-Tale, and Crocus could help explain it to us. But more interestingly, Alabasta is being set up for another return to the series. Chapter 956 tells us that there was an incident in Alabasta. Garp says that there has been an issue in Alabasta requiring the world government's full attention. We know that Alabasta looked safe when Vivi left it for Riveri, so it happened in the last few weeks canonically. The Navy needs full resources to stop it, according to Garp. Some theories about what this could be would be the ancient weapon. Whatever attacked Alabasta either was an ancient weapon or was someone looking for one. Again, there's a theory that Vivi is an ancient weapon. I don't know if I buy into that, but it could play into the story if the theory is correct. Another theory related to Alabasta is that Blackbeard is involved in this incident. For example, he says in that same chapter that if the Navy's only going to take it, I might as well claim the prize. Is this happening in Alabasta, or is it happening elsewhere? It supports the theory that there's an ancient weapon surfacing in Alabasta, and it could explain how the Straw Hats discover a way over Reverse Mountain. If, for example, they followed Blackbeard back over Reverse Mountain, which is the path that Blackbeard is certain to take from his hideout in the New World. We know that Blackbeard already knows how to cross it if this theory is true. This means that a Blackbeard vs Luffy showdown could happen in Alabasta. Oda might have first conceptualized this long ago during the Alabasta arc itself. After all, Alabasta was when Blackbeard and Ace were first introduced at all. Therefore, lots could happen in a return to Alabasta arc. The next arc that could see a return is Skypiea, specifically related to Bellamy's effect on it. He says during the Dressrosa arc that he visited Skypiea. The question is, was he powerful enough to actually harm Skypiea? In Jaya, clearly not. I think that many of the powers that be in Skypiea would be easily able to destroy Bellamy in a fight when he is in the Jaya arc. But if Bellamy took a while during the time skip to visit Skypiea, if that visit occurred a year and a half after we saw him in Jaya, he may have powered up pretty significantly before visiting Skypiea, and he may have harmed that location significantly. He also, granted a pillar, a gold pillar, to Doflamingo. How did he get that? Was it peaceful or brutal? If it was brutal, there may be reason for the Straw Hats to return to Skypiea. Another aspect of a future Skypiea arc would be Roger. In the flashback, Roger and his crew visit Skypiea, which is very much out of the way of where they were. Why go so far away when he only has a year left? There's no road poneglyph, no reason to go there that allows you to access Laughtail, and it's not an impulsive dumb decision like the Straw Hats had. And by the time he visited Skypiea, he had already stolen a road poneglyph from Big Mom, so he was on the tail of hunting Laughtail. But, of all places, he left an inscription there. Why? The only thing I can draw from this strange idea is that there is a key to finding Laughtail or to defeating the world government in Skypiea that we do not know about. After all, Skypiea seemed like an arc that was out of hand when it first appeared in the series, but maybe revisiting it, there will be significantly more important aspects to it that we simply did not understand before. The last familiar location that seems prime for a return is Water 7. We knew from that arc that Water 7 was slowly sinking into the ocean, and that by the end, Iceberg had made plans to make it float. One, it would simply be cool to return to my favorite location in the entirety of the series, but also, there are a few other reasons to return to Water 7. Frankie's dream would be even more full at the points where he had returned all the way around the entire globe from Water 7. His dream, after all, is to create a ship that can sail anywhere, and if he returns from the New World alive with that ship, that would be the fulfillment of his dream. There's also its proximity to Marijoa. It could be used as the place that the Straw Hats prepare for the final war. Finally, there's Iceberg and his connections to the ancient weapons. Might he help them build Pluton? After all, Pluton was first built on Water 7, likely during the Void Century. Or maybe Water 7 is built into Pluton by floating it. Water 7 becomes the ancient weapon itself. It might tie to the ancient weapon scare in Alabasta, meaning that the ancient weapon in Alabasta is Uranus, as we would have the other two accounted for in Water 7 and in the Mermaid Princess Shirahoshi. After all, Water 7 was one of the most crucial arcs of the series and one of the most beautiful places, and if this theory ends up being true, a return to it is almost guaranteed. I would like now to make a quick honorable mention of a few other places that might get a brief return. Gio will be returned to slightly if we're going to Skypiea, and possibly a few of the other arcs before Alabasta. We might see a return to Whiskin Peak, Little Garden, or Drum Island, all of which would be nice, but probably not very impactful on the series. Enies Lobby might feature a return, but it seems like there wouldn't be much for the Straw Hats or the world government to do there, as it is kind of destroyed at the moment. Amazon Lily is another possibility, if that is where Luffy was to meet Boa Hancock, but I subscribe to the theory that Boa might show up in Wano or in an arc in the New World, so we'll table that one until we know more about it. Sabaody Archipelago, finally, will probably be part of the final approach to Marijoa. And with that, let's talk about the final war. Marijoas, or Old Marineford, is where the final war of the series, I think, will be taking place. This whole series of events will allow for the final war to take place there, as we build up the intrigue, as we meet Blackbeard and Alabasta again, as we see more evidence of how to defeat the world government in both Skypiea and Water 7, and as we approach the place where the first major war took place. It would be fascinating to see the story return to some of its most iconic locations, and especially for anime fans, I cannot help but be excited to see some of the new places animated in the new, beautiful style that the series has recently taken on. Imagine Water 7 drawn as beautifully as Wano is. It'd be beyond anything that I can imagine. Anyway, thank you for listening to me rant about one of my favorite series for nearly 12 minutes now. I really do appreciate being able to theorize. This is the first video that I'm posting on this channel, and to be 100% honest, I don't know if I'll even post another one, because I really just had this theory without any other ideas for how to make a YouTube channel, so whatever, it's fine, I'll figure it out. Or maybe I'll keep posting One Piece content and become permanently obsessed with it and be able to quit my job and never do anything other than this for the rest of my life. That'd be pretty cool too. Anyway, thank you for listening. Avoid spoilers in the comments. Click subscribe if you want, but you know, who knows about that one. And thank you.